I should probably add myself back into the stream if I'm going to be talking. I'm going to bring Jen back on, and we're going to bring in the gang from Red Stylo Media, Mark Mullaney and Enrica Jang.
Hey guys.
I figured I would let you guys pick. Who do you want to talk to, me or Jen?
Jen. Oh, Jen. All day long.
That's fair. All right, guys. Thank you for being here. I'm going to turn you over to Miss Jen's capable hands.
Oh, that's good to me. I can over
I'm surprised that Kyle didn't vapor to death. He was very, that was a big moment for him with his hero.
We're strong, so I would have defeated him soundly.
It's super true. Like, but now I can hang out. But now there's two of my friends.
Two of my friends.
I'm so mad right now. I have always in easy hand reach my awesome Ninja Bear like display, and oh, I know where it is.
Can everybody hear me? Okay, by the way.
Yeah, I can hear you.
That's right. Yeah, Jen's a little bit low.
Yeah, Jen, I think your mic's off.
What? Okay. Should I get closer to mine? Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
you just gotta get closer.
There she is.
But
hey, how you doing?
Yeah, Mark, check the private messages. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm proud of Kyle. Kyle, I'm proud of you. I know you need the support of a masculine figure, so yes, I'm proud of you.
Can everybody hear me now? Am I doing well? I moved away so I could just lean back and enjoy the last two interviews because I feel like I shouldn't sit too close to the screen because those guys are so awesome. It's like if you grew up in
oh my god,
90s.
Absolutely amazing. I feel like folks are probably like they just left because that was really, really awesome. And then who are we?
Yeah, he's exactly right. It's like all these big names, and then it's like, and next up we have Enrica Jang of Crossing and Mark Mullaney of Ninja Bear. And people are like, what?
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Time for a sandwich.
Some of our biggest panels have been yesterday, or we had a giant bump when Scout came on. So you guys have got big fans. I suspect we're going to see that too.
Hopefully. Otherwise, we're like the pimento or something in a sandwich.
Do you forget to pay the plants? I forgot to pay the plants. We need to next time plan this a little better. Have some folks come in.
Oh yeah.
Be our
you keep. I think the ghosts of Poe House are interfering with what you got going on over there, Enrica.
Did you guys have?
Am I cutting out?
Before?
Well, Enrica is broadcasting from historic Poe House, and it's haunted.
No, she's not. I am at an undisclosed location, and I am not at Poe House. Thank you.
Okay.
No, I'm at an undisclosed location, and yeah. But no, is my signal bad? Because you guys are cool. You're cool.
You keep freezing for me. I don't know if it's freezing for anybody else, but
you can pop out and come back. Just go pop out and come back real fast. Sometimes
okay. Well, I will leave and then return, but somebody watch Mark because he's gonna be all weird. So I'll be right back.
I do that sometimes.
I can't promise I can keep anyone under control.
Are we actually on right now, or?
Yeah, you're totally live.
Oh, okay. That's my favorite.
This is what real live TV looks like, especially during COVID, when you're like, "Hey, man, we got to talk to each other, and that's cool."
I'm very distracted by all the great-looking books and things right behind you. Is Ninja Bear right next to a Charmander? It looks like Ninja Bear's right next to a Charmander, between Crossing and a Charmander.
Yeah, the Charmander art is by Nicole Fernandez, who's going to be on in the 7 o'clock hour, my time, 8 o'clock.
Very nice piece.
Yeah. So I see Enrica's coming back.
Is she? Okay.
Popping it. Oh, maybe Kyle doesn't know the popper back. I have the power.
Is it better? Did it work?
It seems a little better. Yeah, it seems a little bit better. We'll see.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys are awesome. So if I just have to step out, I'm cool. You got this, and then I'll go.
All right, so introduce yourselves. Enrica, go first.
Hi, my name is Enrica Jang. I am the editor-in-chief of Red Stylo Media. We are a small indie publisher out of Baltimore, Maryland. And we publish comics and anthologies, and been doing this for almost over 10 years now. We've officially hit the decade, past the decade mark. I feel like last year shouldn't really count, but still does.
Last year counts. Last year still counts.
Last year
Are
counts.
you still alive? Then you count. It's good.
Hanging on, hanging on.
Your
I
company
think
still
so.
says
I think
COVID
so.
is your extra award. I saw Jim Starlin's face.
With some of the help from our friends, and Jen, you were a huge part of that, especially when all of this went down in March last year. So we owe Jen a huge thanks for bringing people together. It wasn't just helping us, but helping this entire community of indie creators connect with shops and connect in this new way. That was all you.
Yeah, that really, I'm just a girl standing in front of the world asking it to love comics. I think the day that they announced the shutdown for Diamond, which they absolutely needed to do, was the right move. Absolutely right move. All I could hear was, because I do so much live interaction and have customers that are hungry for new product all the time, was like, I'm going to get cut off from product. And that was a panic moment. It was a sheer moment of panic, me creating Plan C. Because I was like, man, we got to move past Plan B. We need to go to Plan Comics. How are we going to get comics moving across the country?
That would be Plan C.
Plan C, Plan Comics. And it, I really just like said, I'm going to put all my friends in a room together and all their friends that are comic book related, publishers, creators, and retailers, and at least get comics moving around the country somehow. Like, I figured if we were all in the same room, we're all smart people, we'd come up with a way to do it. So that's really kind of what I was hoping for, and it worked out way better than I thought I was going to. So I'm happy that it's been a benefit to people, and not just like a great, now I get 20,000 messages a day.
You get what you ask for. Careful what you wish for.
Yeah. So and to know that you've been around for 10 years, it makes me like sad, because I could have been selling your amazing books for so long, but people ask what was the good things that happened out of COVID, and this, I think, the slowdown to be able to go and look at all of those extra emails and to hunt down comic books that I always wanted to carry but never had the time or space on the rack, I guess. This has made it so it's completely possible, and as much as I support independent comic books, this has allowed me to really support independent comic books in a really concerted way. So,
Well, I think we did have an opportunity to kind of, if we could figure out how to keep going, I think that was the only thing that was on anybody's mind. It's like, what's going to happen? Nobody knew what was going to happen, and just had to keep going in the middle. And what I did see a lot of panic from different folks, and everybody's trying to put on a brave face, and then other people are trying to, okay, so we've been trying to get virtual stuff going for a while, let's just jump into it. And then you saw some people really just like jump into the current and then just go, and they're doing such a really great job. So I think we're still figuring out how things have changed, period, and find the way ahead. I think that people are much more open to, they need content, they need new books, they need new voices, and all of it's just such an important thing. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So pre-COVID, how did you
What was that like?
Your fan base? Well, how did you find your fan base before? Everything has changed. The whole world is totally different. But how did you connect with your fan base before to have them find your comic book lines?
Well, we, I think initially and for the last several years, we have done an anthology every year. announcing an anthology, and the comics community is wonderful readers and people who are voracious for comics, but creators are also voracious for comics. And so keeping the company alive really depended on meeting more people in the industry. They're the ones that sort of keep everything really going. So doing an anthology every year, we have published over 350 different artists and writers over the last 10 years. And so doing a lot of shows, meeting people at cons, that the almighty email list, that kind of stuff. But we'd hit the road for the first few years, and then every year a new influx of creators working with folks kept things going. I think crowdfunding has also changed things significantly from when I started up to now, just completely changed the game. And now there's a global community plugged into one another via crowdfunding. So,
how about you, Mark? What was your traditional way to connect?
My way to connect was basically through Enrica and her plans, because I've been working with Red Stylo Media pretty much for the entirety of the last 10 years. We first started working together in 2011. I was one of those souls that joined the lost ship Red Stylo with one of the anthology, the very first anthology book they put together. So I've been sort of working with Enrica ever since then, and relying on her and her ability and her skill at getting, just basically actually taking an idea and making it into a thing and then getting it in front of people. That's pretty much been, the major outreach for, like, my own personal book, for example, Red Ninja Bear. Like, that was left to my own devices, I would be sitting in a basement drawing it just for myself. But then Enrica saw it and she's like, I want to do something with this. And the next thing you know, I actually have a printed book and like actual plush figures made. And I don't know how any of it happened. She just waves a wand, and next thing you know, this stuff's out there. So if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here right now.
It's because she's a boss.
Yas Queen. Is that right to say?
well, if I had known all I had to do was wave a wand, that would have been nice.
Yeah, well, you've been wasting all this time with
nice just to have a
social
wand.
outreach. You've been crowd campaigns and social outreach and going to cons. All you have to do is magic.
So Enrica, how do you find
the way to do it? Easy, make $1 million.
How do you find and gather all the creative?
How do I find what?
How do you find all the creative people to come under the banner of your house?
Well, prior to the last 2 years, we had become sort of an annual ritual for New Year's Day to release open call. We announce a theme and then open call for entries, and then just welcome, whether you're a veteran or a newbie, students welcome to enter, and then invite people to pitch. Unfortunately, COVID did change quite a few things and has kind of changed the landscape, especially because the books really depended on getting to shows, getting things out there. Being able to launch a Kickstarter or other kind of crowdfunding campaign got the thing made, but if we can't get the books sold, big problems. So shows, unfortunately, off the radar for us. We didn't feel it was fair to do another open call until we could repair that drop in the business model. But years before this, just doing an open call and inviting people who, whether they had done comics or not, to just come play in the sandbox, offer a theme, and then tell them to go crazy and pitch the craziest twist on the theme that they could think of, and then put the book together. And that's it worked for a while. We hope to get back to it. Really hoping to get back to it once all of this stuff is passed.
All of this stuff.
But in the meantime, working on independent series.
Mark, tell us about the genesis of the idea for.
So hopefully.
So the genesis for the idea of Ninja Bear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, I had this idea for a thing, and then I did it. No, no, Ninja Bear is one of those things, and I'm sure a lot of indie comic book creators have this same kind of basic story. It's like I drew something when I was in art school. millennia ago, I was, drawing my sketchbook all the time, and so there'd be all these random things, and so there's this one illustration I did of like just a little teddy bear as a ninja, that was kind of like based on another thing, and I was just kind of like, just an idle doodle, and then for some reason it's that initial illustration sort of like captured something in my brain, and next thing you know, I sort of was like drawing that figure more and more and kind of refining it into something that was more unique than what it started as, and then stories start to form around this. So like I was saying, I'm sure a lot of indie guys have this same experience where it's some thing you never planned on doing just sort of like gets lodged in your brain, and the next thing you know, you're creating stories and worlds for this character to inhabit. And so I've always been a big fan of folklore and mythology. I like to read stories about like creatures and from these like weird stories that come from all different parts of the world, and all the different kind of beliefs that different cultures have about the kind of magical creatures that inhabit their environment. And I started to kind of like, well, that would be perfect for a character who's like, this is a character who could go on a fantasy quest and have to come to face with these things and stuff like that. So it's just sort of this random drawing I did started combining with these ideas I liked about, folklore and fantasy. And next thing you know, I had these stories, and the stories that I'm starting to put out with Ninja Bear now are ones that have been rattling around in my head since college, but I never did it. And part of it, as a lesson I always like to talk about when it comes to talking about Ninja Bear, is I had all these individual stories, but there was no overarching storyline to tie them all together. And so I kind of sat on it for years with this like, someday, I'll get my stuff together and I'll actually like make this into a proper thing. And it got to a point a few years ago where I, wanted to do something personal, like a project for myself, because I'm a freelance creative. So I do animation, I do illustration, I do graphic design. I spend so much of my life creating things for other people, and it's important to always create something for yourself. So this one point I wanted to do something for myself, and I was like, what can I do? What can I do? And I thought to myself, you know what? I have these Ninja Bear stories. They're self-contained. They don't really go anywhere. I would like to be part of something bigger, but if I keep waiting for that idea to come, I'm never going to do it. So I'm just going to pick the one I like the most, and I'm just going to make it happen. I'm just for myself. I didn't want to do it for anybody else. I wasn't trying to be famous or anything. I was just like, I just want to do something for myself. I want to see this particular story actually fleshed out. So I illustrated the first Ninja Bear. It was a 12-page story, and I just put it online because that's what you do in the 2000s. You do something and then you immediately put it online because it didn't happen. And then Enrica saw it, and she's like, I like that specifically. I want to make it into I want to make a doll of Ninja Bear. And I was like, okay, if you can do that, good luck to you. And so next thing you know,
I just wanted a Ninja Bear, so we had to make them.
So a year later, we're planning a Kickstarter.
I just wanted one.
And I was like, she's like, I want to do a Kickstarter to have these things made. What do you want a Kickstarter? And I was like, well, I have another story. I could actually start doing this. So I kind of like, even in that first Kickstarter, I still didn't know really what the actual overarching story of the character was going to be. I was just sort of like dove into it. It's like, here's another thing here's another story I can just throw it into the ether. So I'm just going to do that. And so that's what happened. And then, I have a better sense of what the overarching story is now and where it's going, but it's still not totally fleshed out. Don't tell Enrica, she's on mute, right? Oh no, she knows my secret.
I heard it all, Mark. Heard it all.
So I'm, there's still a lot of that. I have a better idea now, but there's still a lot of this kind of feeling in the dark to figure out where I'm going with it. But I've been having fun with it so far, and hopefully other people have as well. But that's where it came from.
How different is the design of the character of Ninja Bear from your first doodlings to where he is now?
Oh man, that is a good question. Actually, it's I think I stuck it in one of the books, but he's drastically different. Part of the thing was I struggled for a long time what to do with the character, because the original one, he's just like this little. As from a character standpoint, I'm going to get technical for a minute. From the character standpoint, the original design of Ninja Bear would never have functioned as like a character because he wouldn't be able to do any of the action stuff. It was a struggle to come to a crossroads of something that could be still cute, but have the kind of build that would facilitate action, because it's a very action heavy story. He's a ninja. He's got a sword. He's got to fight stuff. so the original design was this short little stubby nubby arms and stuff like that, and I didn't want to make him too stringy, so it took years to actually get. It's funny because he's one of those designs that looks so simplistic on the surface, but if you knew the amount of effort that went into it, you'd look at me and go, why did you spend your time doing that? You could have done something useful.
Well, it's a lot to think about, right? Because if you think about the way fans address their fandoms, that's kind of the thing that they do. They'll go and they'll say, yes, we love so much Red Sonja, but her outfit fighting in the snow is pretty impractical.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know if that would really help to fight against the temperatures and stuff. Shouldn't she be wearing something better? Actually, I think I can pull this up right here. I actually have the original illustration I did of Ninja Bear, which is not. You'll see it's pretty close to where he ended up, but there was a lot of going back and forth. For a while there, I had the idea of like giving him clothes, but then I thought, all the best comic book characters or the best cartoon characters don't have clothes. They're all nude.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
I feel like too that is a bigger company's probably good. Let's talk about let's worry about the fandom. I think what's great about Mark's book is he is always thinking about the kids in his audience. The kids are going to be looking at this book and like reading this book, and sometimes I'll give him a hard time. I'm like, you kind of left this open, or you left this open-ended, and the character's like, well, sometimes it just doesn't make sense, and why'd you do that? And Mark really has a sense of the story that he's telling to the proto kid in his head, and not everything makes sense, and not everything's gonna make sense, and kids know that better than everybody, so you can say that to a kid. And so Mark is a great storyteller, and then this character design is just awesome.
Well, as I revealed, it's more of I have no idea what's going on, and I will fight tooth and nail to pretend that I do know what's going on.
Yeah, there's a big difference. And
when we start thinking about the fandom, I think we've got different problems.
So I can see what you're saying, that like it would be really hard for him to do very much ninja-ing with just two.
Yeah, there's not a lot, and there's a lot of I think I pontificated a lot on this in the book that we just put out, probably unnecessarily so, but there's a lot of me going back and forth between wanting him to have like nubby hands, and here you go. Wanting to have nubby hands and wanting him to have like actual digits so he could like hold a sword properly. But as you can see, a lot of in the early days, he had no fingers or anything, and stuff just kind of like was magneted to his hand, which I thought was cute. But at the same time, it's not, I'll get a lot of people at Comic Cons going, it's like, well, actually, that doesn't make any sense. Does he have magnets in his hands? How does that work? So I don't know. I'm fairly happy, but even still, the character. This is the interesting thing about character design for anybody who's interested in that kind of thing. Is even with the fact that I put out a series of books and stuff, and I'm fairly happy with the character, I'm still refining the design as I move forward. He's got, and this is the illustration from that I used on the cover art of the volume that we just kickstarted this past year, and he's got feet now. Whereas in earlier books, he still had the round nubby feet, but he had fingers on his hands. But now he's actually got like feet that stick out, so he can walk properly. But again, it's always a struggle to figure out like, what can I do to this character to make him more appealing, but still maintain the vibe that I feel. Because part of it too is there's an aspect to the way he looks that's sort of in my head that I can't translate with words. I can only translate with images. And so it's hard to like balance what I feel like he should look like versus like what actually works for a character like this. So it's tough.
It's so funny that the change between his eyes and ears size ratio is so dramatically different. Yeah,
and there's actually early on there was a lot of people who said he looked like a mouse. So that's always fun. After I drew the first 12-page story, people are like, is that a mouse? What is that? It's like, no, it's clearly a bear in the way that I haven't quite figured out yet, but it's clearly a bear.
No, what you say is, do you like mice? Then it's a mouse.
It's whatever gets you to buy a copy of the book, really, ultimately. If you want to say he's a walrus, then yeah, that's what he is. He's whatever gets you to buy a copy.
It's a mouse, and his last name is Bear.
Yes.
Mr. Bear to you.
Mr. Bear. I didn't go to 3 years of Bear College to be called Bear. I don't know.
There's
Joke
a lot
went
of
away.
lot of careers that I talked
Yeah.
to this weekend. They kind of like opened my mind to. I guess I always knew this, that most creatives have also either started in a different career or also have another career that they're doing in conjunction with their creating. Mark, do you have any of that in your background? Did you used to be, a police officer? Or...
No, I mean, when I was in college and before, I did a lot of like, odd jobs at like, early person jobs like convenience store clerk, or I worked in a butcher shop at the local grocery store for a while. But once I graduated from college, because I went to college to study animation because I was into comics, drawing indie comics throughout high school, as I'm sure a lot of creatives have been. And when it came time to go to college, I decided to go to major in animation because I figured that would give me the broadest opportunities, because you learn the basics of illustration, but you also learn a whole other skill set in terms of animation. So when I got out of school, it was a bit of a struggle. It was funny because when I graduated from animation school was right around the time when like Cartoon Network was focusing on producing live action shows for kids. So basically me and my class, we graduated into an environment where even the Cartoon Network was trying not to make cartoons anymore. So it was not a fun time to be on the job market. But we all got through it. And, I've been living in Boston, which kind of narrows my options, but I've still managed to eke out a living here doing creative work entirely, whether it's graphic design, animation, illustration, or comic books. Like, I've been managed to pick and choose all different things, working in the comic book industry, working in marketing, even doing a little stint here and there on television, doing animation for television. So it's, I have primarily an animator, but ultimately, like, I do all kinds of different creative stuff, and it's pretty much been the only job I've ever had, is just trying to convince people to pay me to do the weird stuff I like to do, on my own.
Well, I'm guessing that because you get to do so many different parts of the creative, based on the skills that you've learned, that it makes it less likely you're going to kind of burn out of doing the same thing.
Yeah, you'd think that. Sometimes it's tricky.
About that.
What was that?
We were talking about that the other day. And I've talked to a lot of creators where this is true. Like, if you are doing what you love for a living, you're never not working. You never get a break, and so you burn out. You can burn out fast.
Yeah, I mean, you can burn out. I feel like part of it is, doing something like Ninja Bear is good because it's mine. Particularly working, doing, especially in marketing, there's so much collaboration creatively that is the kind of thing it can burn you out, where you're having people who are not creative people telling you how to be creative can be challenging sometimes. And it's nice to have, and even with doing comic books, I do comic book stuff for other people as well. I do work as a colorist. I do work as a letterer. So that stuff is more fun. But at the same time, you're still playing in somebody else's sandbox. The thing that helps me not be burned out is doing something like Ninja Bear, where I can go in and it's my sandbox and I can decide who gets to play with me, and nobody gets to play in my sandbox. It's all me. I never let anybody else in there. Enrica can watch from outside and cheer me on, but I play in that sandbox. And it's nice.
Okay.
That's one of, I think, the best ways to avoid burnout when you're working in the creative field, is to have whatever it is on the side that's your baby, that's your thing, that nobody gets to tell you what to do. You're the one who decides what happens. And then, if you're putting it out there, if it's the kind of thing where you're going to put it out there, like for me, I'm putting Ninja Bear out there. If it lives or dies, it does it it's on my head whether it lives or dies, and I have to accept that. But except for the fact that Enrica puts all this effort into helping me promote it, and that I don't let her dictate in any way what it should be. So she gets to deal with that failure, and she can just watch the Hindenburg go down. But I feel like that's a really good way to avoid burnout. So that's how I keep myself moderately sane.
So you mentioned having conflict in doing those kinds of projects. not with a specific example, but like an example. How do you overcome those kinds of conflicts when they arise?
Well, a lot of times when you're working, and particularly, in when you're doing stuff for other people, oftentimes you can't really get past, like you can't really like resolve it or get past it. You just have to accept it, like, because a lot of times it's the problem is like somebody telling you to do something that doesn't make any sense or doesn't work, but they think it should be done that way, and so you kind of have to just, at the end of the day, they're the ones they're the ones signing the check, so you have to, you're a contractor, you're hired to do something, you have to ultimately give them what you want. You can give them your professional opinion and be like, well, actually, generally this is done this way, but as long as you do that, you fulfilled your part of the bargain in terms of like you're an expert in the field, you're producing the work, you're going to give them your point of view or your experience. But if they choose to ignore that, all you have to do is just kind of like, you bite your tongue really hard, you just say, okay, that's great, let's do it, and then you just do it. And again, that's where it's nice to have something else to run back to, where I can cry all the way back to my desk to draw Ninja Bear and to just let the tears fall onto my tablet screen while I draw.
So I'm asking this question with a kind of like the idea there might be a lot of people watching that might be interested in a career in doing graphics, art design, and animation and those kinds of things. So when you accept a job, within that job itself, how many changes will you kind of like allow a client to make before you have to then charge more? Or they're just like a built-in, you can change what you want this to look like 10 times and then I'm cutting you off, man?
Ultimately, it comes down to what, that's kind of a decision every individual designer and creative has to make, is how far down this road of revisions do you want to allow a client to go? Some clients are good where, you do the thing and you send it over and they'll send it back, because there's always going to be revisions to the first draft of anything. Like you're trying to take something from somebody else's head and put it down for the world to see. So, and it's the first time they're going to see it. So obviously there are always going to be changes. Sometimes, like, for example, I just finished a series of short videos and I sent them back, and the only revisions I had was just tweak the volume of the audio. Everything else is perfect. And then we did that, and now that project's done. I can move on now. That was an easy job. There are other projects, and I'm sure there's a lot of like designers. If there's a lot of designers watching right now, they'll understand the struggle of a file with 20 files in it, like a folder with 20 files in it called various versions of Final 2, Final 3, Final 1, Final 2, Final 3, etc., etc. Those are the kind of clients where when you begin the project, and sometimes you have to wait until you've worked with them once before you realize they're going to be like this. But those are the kind of clients where you have to say, like, all right, here's the rate for the project. You get 3 revisions with that. If we any more revisions, it's going to cost you more. Or you charge hourly. And in which case, if you're charging an hourly rate, then the more revisions, the better, because it's just like, all right, fine. You want me to go and take 3 hours to render out this video because you want this green to be slightly different green. All right. Yeah, that's fine. You pay me to change the tone, like just a little bit. But that's, I think, really comes down to.
By the way, that is a quick way to find. No, it's a really quick way to like find a poor freelancer who's been burned. If you look at their contact page, and there's already a bunch of rules for all the things they're not going to do for you.
Exactly.
3 revisions. Don't call me at night. Like you tell you put that story together immediately as you see that page.
Yeah, a lot of times it's good to kind of bake that in, and you always want to be careful if you're working with a new client for the first time. You always want to be careful and side on, lean to the side of caution, because either you're gonna totally keep yourself safe, or you're gonna find yourself pleasantly surprised, and in which case, either way, you're still gonna come out on top of it. So it is always good to sort of bake in, depending on what your payment structure is. If you're going hourly, then yeah, let the changes come hard and fast until it's done, because you're going to get paid for it either way. Plus, there is a little thing. I'm not giving away too many secrets, but if you have for those really difficult clients, you can add a little extra, pain in the butt fee. Just kind of like, just a little bit of a, you're driving me crazy tax that can be tacked on there. Just be like, and an extra $5 an hour. What's that for? Oh, nothing. Just, taxes.
Is that a line item?
You put it under some fancy title where it's just like
that line item in your last invoice to me?
that's pretty much the entire invoice. I think ultimately, if you were easy to work with, Enrica, the invoices would be like $10, but it goes up from there. I absolutely love working with Enrica. She's an example of, because again, like, I'm a longtime freelancer and I've been working with Enrica for 10 years. So like, that is a good relationship that we have going on. We're not just like, client and creative consultant, but we're also friends. She came to my wedding 2 years ago. It was great. She's met my child and she's not horrified by his screaming.
We have a question from Mike.
It was a great buffet at that wedding.
Do you yourself edit Ninja Bear?
I do I do editing. But Enrica always takes a different. The last mini we put together for Kickstarter bonus thing, she came back to me. It's like, oh, by the way, there's a couple of grammar mistakes that I went and fixed them for you, so don't worry about it. And I mean, technically, that's just her job. She's in the book as editor. She's credited in the book as editor. So if I didn't leave something for her to edit, then I'm a liar, and that's not nice. So I have to make her honest by screwing up something in there. But for the most part, well,
you're saying that now, you're saying that not having actually gotten a copy of the last book we put together. Like, yeah, I know there's going to be a lot of pushback on edits, so I just do it. And then send it to the printer, and
my
then
sandbox.
I don't
Mine.
Think. Do you read the books? I send them to you. Sorry,
I don't read my own books.
No,
I don't read my own books.
The person who pushes print is the person who has the power. I think
Enrica's frustration with my poor grammar is starting to break up her internet feed.
Oh no. Oh no.
She's so angry with how bad I am at writing that's literally breaking down the fabric of the internet.
Oh man. So Enrica, I know that you said that Red Stylo has been around for 10 years. What was the genesis of that company?
Well, what's the old little
adage.
Truth that if you want to get into comics, you have to make adage. If you want to get into comics, you have to make comics. And I think that was the beginning. I wanted to get into comics, so I wanted to make them. And then there was a time I wanted to be hired as an editor. And so you're not going to get hired as an editor editing your own stuff. You really shouldn't be editing your own stuff. So got to edit other folks. And accidentally created this company. That first anthology, putting together the Poe Twisted anthology, accidentally met some incredible people you want to just keep working with, accidentally put out a book that is still one of our best sellers to this day, accidentally started something that was fun to do every single year. And we're still here. We're still doing that. So it means a lot to me, though, that Mark says that, because the difficult people in your life are not necessarily bad. And I know I'm difficult, and Mark is very gracious and nice to me. So it means a lot that he's still around. And he does quite a bit. He's a producer at Red Stylo and really is the engine behind all of our projects. So. But that was the beginning, and then continuing to do independent series. I think that because we can't do shows at this time, putting together a book where we can't really share the sales with the other folks that are contributing their work to the project, we decided to just focus on the independent series. So working on Ninja Bear, working on Crossing, working on these series, launching new series. That way we can fulfill our promises to the creators. That way is what we're working on this year. So yeah.
Is The Crossing the first of your just standalone books?
No. Crossing though is probably my most successful with Red Stylo. been writing for a very long time and had different mixed success with my own series and other books published by other companies. Crossing, though, again, this is where crowdfunding really has changed the landscape for things. I think that Kickstarter not only made it possible to create the book and fund the book, but it also gets us out to an audience that literally is global. And that's just something that that's just true now. But so yeah, the Crossing, as Mark was saying though, Crossing is my project. It's my baby. I don't have to share it with anybody or answer to anybody when it comes to that stuff. So it keeps me, it's a book about insane things, but it keeps me sane to being able to work on something that belongs to me. So it's a really great way to put it.
I love pitching your book because I do it often when I do my walk around shows. I like try to hit it at least every other show. And I find this conflict within myself that I love the premise of the book so much, but part of the twist that exists in the first issue is also part of the hook. So I struggle with whether I give the hook, which is the twist, or not. But if I give it, it means always people pick up. But then I also realize that I am robbing someone of the joy of discovering the twist that happens very early on in the book.
Well, make your first pages strong pages. That's thank you for that. Thank you. I don't think it's giving anything away to really tell people she's a ghost. You just don't know if you're witnessing her murder or if she's already dead. So there's that. But thank you. You've been a big cheerleader for the book. I appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those opening pages where she's just like.
So we just.
The video game part of the book where you get a couple pages in and you realize that it's not just his it reads as that annoying girlfriend that just doesn't know when she should be going off to work or whatever, and that she's just like hanging around the house and he's annoyed that he has to go to work and she's there, when you realize later that she can't go to work. It's a different dynamic. Yes.
Now, Crossing has been a pleasant surprise. She could go with him to work.
Yeah,
and she does.
She's dead doesn't mean
Actually,
she can't be contributing to society. Come on, man.
That's right. That's right. A shout out to Alex Cormick, who is the artist on Crossing, and then Mark is our color and letter guru for the book. But Alex Cormick and folks in your audience will know him from a lot of IDW titles, a lot of Comics Tribe titles. He's just an incredible, he's a machine because he is working on a ton of stuff constantly. But he has really made that book amazing. And the combination between Alex and Mark with some of the ghost effects, especially this last issue that we did with the Ghost Vision variant, we really tried to do something kind of technically challenging, and we threw the twist in there, the technical twist, and after the book had already been drawn. And so a lot of credit to Mark for making our Ghost Vision variant happen this year. We created a variant of the 5th issue that includes a couple of transparent films so that you can read the scenes with just the living characters and then overlaid with the ghosts in a clear overlay of the ghosts. You could get to read the scene both ways and what it's like for the living characters who are interacting with ghosts that other people can't see and how crazy they look, but then you get to see when the ghost overlay falls on the page. And so it was the book had already been drawn, and Mark was just beginning to start on the color work for that issue. And then I said, you know what would be fun? And Mark didn't kill himself. So
it's funny when people you work for say, you know what would be fun, and it never turns out to be.
Fun.
No, but honestly, Enrica really, I mean, she gives me credit for this, but she took the bullet on this one because through the technical things, she basically had to go in and like hand edit these illustrations to make them work for the book. Like, so she has carpal tunnel that I could only imagine at this point. I believe I'm impressed by the.
No. Actually, I have a show and tell too. I can share this process and show you guys what this thing looked like. All right, so just to show you, so Alex, the first step, Alex just draws the comic the way he has with the ghost character and the living character in this scene, and then Mark in coloring the page went in and ripped the scene apart with a layer for the ghost and a layer for the living characters. And so he's coloring these pieces, and then, as long as you guys can see this, and then coming down here, the transparent overlay printed over, transparent overlay inserted in the book. You do this, and then we had to paint the films by hand. Once the book was bound, we had to paint each of the films and then overlay them back over the scene, and that was the final result. So
that is an amazing amount of work, but
I don't know if you guys saw all that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's coming across. I'm seeing a loading screen.
It was, but totally worth it.
Yeah, no, the effect, because even like I haven't seen the actual printed book yet, but I, in creating the layouts for it, it helped me to imagine like what it would be like, because I actually had to like recreate the pages without the ghosts on them. So it does add an extra level of humor. I'd almost want to have that for every issue, where you can have the scene written, like read with and without the ghosts, because particularly when the living characters are interacting with the in front of other living characters, but with the ghosts, and the living characters can't see the ghost. It's funny because then it just looks like a crazy person talking to himself, and it adds that extra level to the story, because it's one thing to know the interpretation of this other person is that the main character is insane, but to actually see it from the other person's perspective and see like, oh yeah, he really. I was saying it reminded me of if you've ever read that online comic Garfield Without Garfield, where the guy just edited out Garfield from all these comic strips, so it's just John. Just as a sad, lonely man talking to himself.
I've not seen that. I'm going to go find that.
And we're just sad, lonely people talking to ourselves. Did Jen go away?
No, she's still here. I can see and hear Jen. I don't know if you can see.
She's still here, or
Jen.
did I just go away?
I think you're.
I can't see or hear Jen.
All right, so right now, this is the Twilight Zone. I'm Rod Serling.
Person.
Everybody can see and hear me, but you guys can't see and hear each other. Submitted for your approval. An internet chat room where two people can't see each other, but the third one can. He is now in control. Welcome to the Mark Zone.
Is she the ghost? Is she the ghost, or am I the ghost?
This is literally us doing the crossing without the ghosts thing in real life. You two are talking to me, and you have no idea what he starts saying. And now I look like a crazy person.
Is she making fun of me? Is she talking about me?
She is smiling very graciously. I literally. You and I are babbling about stuff I don't think she can hear. So
I can hear both of you.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Well, I would just like to remind Mark that I'm in control here.
Oh no, Kyle's here.
I have
now we're in trouble.
It's all Kyle.
Kyle's here.
Oh, guys, we made Dad mad.
This is funny.
So I had to walk away for a minute. Did we get to talk about Enrica's day job?
Do I have to stop this car? We have to pull over.
Go, Kyle. You ask your question.
Trouble.
Enrica has one of the coolest.
Oh no! I can't see Kyle. I can only see Mark. I can't see myself.
See or hear either
there I am.
Right now. Can you hear them and see them?
Can you hear anyone now?
Can you? I can only hear you. Oh, this is so weird.
I don't. Is it worth having her jump out and jump back in again, or?
Yeah, probably.
We still have 10 minutes. We're still good.
I mean, I could translate on her behalf if you want to. Like, I speak internet to Rika. Like, I can translate.
No,
I speak fluent Enrica Jang. So
one of the cool things about Mark is that Mark is the person. Well, one of the cool things about Mark is that Mark is the person I go to when I'm like, "Hey, Mark, I don't know how to do this thing graphically or how to make it look good," and Mark usually knows how to make it look good.
I mean, vaguely.
Hi.
Slightly better.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. We could always
She's
hear
back.
you. You just couldn't hear us.
I couldn't, and it was so weird because only Mark and Jen was gone, and then Kyle came in, and then like Mark's like narrating for me, like, "Oh, Kyle's here!" I'm like, "Oh no, oh dear."
Dad's coming to yell at us, guys. Dad's mad. We're making too much noise. Dad's got to wake up and work third shift. He's mad.
No, I walked away for a minute because we had a phone call for one of the later shows today. But did when we were talking with Mark about the other things he did, did we talk about how Enrica has one of the coolest job titles in the world?
No, you go. Ask her all about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
we don't talk
Enrica,
about such things. No, we don't talk about such things. My secret identity, and you're trying to out me.
Well, all I want is the
No.
job title. You don't gotta say where. She's got
Director?
2 words: executive director, which means that she's everybody's boss at her job, and that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted is that she
And-
oftentimes bosses Mark and I around.
And
it's pretty
I am
common.
also editor-in-chief of Red Stylo, so Mark's little whole
You are.
performative, I get to do what I want. Yeah, I'm the
Right.
boss, man. I'm the boss.
Right.
I can live in a fantasy.
Enrica
if I
doesn't
choose
do it
to.
if she isn't the boss, is what I'm
That's
trying
right.
to tell people.
Kyle,
Why would you?
Kai only gets the benefit of being bossed around when she's playing the role of the director, but I get bossed around in stereo, the director and the what was the title? You know what I'm saying? Chief, editor in chief. So
And when I cross over to the ghostly plane, apparently, Mark, you'll be the only one who will hear
I'm
me.
like, yeah, exactly. It's like as soon like when you die, I am going to be haunted by you, following me
Knock on
around.
wood.
I mean,
Please, knock on
granted,
something, please. I'm trying to stick around. Thank
no,
you.
you're going to be around much longer than me. My diet consists mostly of cheese and soda, so you're going to be around much longer than me.
All right, I put off asking this question as long as I can.
Uh-oh.
I'm a huge Poe fan, and I hear you guys have like the coolest Poe event that you guys put together.
In another life, in another plane, we do put together the International Edgar Allan Poe Festival and Awards. So, plug to folks in Baltimore and folks around the world, I think, and Kyle, actually. I think he
And
he
Kyle.
did some stuff, right? Like
Yeah, he's been
did some
involved.
stuff, did some things.
He's always there yelling at me, telling me to turn my mic on or off.
He hung around. He helped. He helped. No, he was a really big.
He's hanging
help,
around
so.
now. He's in the ether. He
Yes.
can hear us. He is.
Well,
He's the
once again,
walls.
you're this ghost who can only. You're this guy who can only hear the ghost.
Well, no, I can't see or hear him right now. I can feel him watching me.
Which is worse.
It's so much worse. Oh no!
Worse. No, but we have chosen, and I don't know why we do this. We have chosen to work with each other on a number of different projects, and yeah.
So, what does that festival look like? What is it? An actual gathering where everyone just?
Well,
like,
that's the question. Which year are you talking about?
Yeah, which year? That's right. With pandemic, without pandemic, because those are two different things. Without. Actually, Jen wants more credit where credit is due. I think we modeled the festival this past year off of your incredible work doing that first virtual con earlier last year. So you set the tone, you set the bar, and we were just trying to meet it.
That was all Kyle.
That was all Kyle. All right.
Well, that's why.
Well, don't tell him. Don't tell him I said nice things about him. He'll be weird next time we talk.
You mean like opposite of how he usually is?
Yeah. Don't tell him I said anything nice.
But no, the festival is usually an in-person thing, and it's one of those interesting challenges of 2020 because 2020 was a year, I'd say, the year of the challenge. But that was one of the big challenges: is how do you get the same vibe? Because essentially, like, people go to the festival to like be there to see the artisans, to see the environment, to see the historical things, and then it's just you try to get people to still be interested in engaging with it when they're going to be doing it from their couch, which they've already been sitting on for 5 months by that point, by the time we got around to doing it. So it's like, here's another thing you could watch. Do you want to? But we got a lot. And I think we probably got slightly more engagement because it was online, that people weren't restricted, because, it kind of opened it up to people who couldn't come to Baltimore. So it actually worked out really well. And But it
But I
was
think that's
interesting
a lesson for. I think that's a lesson for everything that we're creating this year, whether it's Red Stylo or any creative endeavor. Everybody has had to like work really hard to create, like pivot and do something online. And the thing about it is, once we are finally in the clear, I don't think this stuff's going away. So we're working on and honing a tool set that I think we're going to need going forward, no matter what, because now people expect it. I think there was a lot of resistance to virtual events before all this, and then they became necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And then now, even if you do have a live event, I think we're anticipating that, and I think conventions are going to find this is true. I think all creators are going to find this is true. Everything you've done to stay alive during this time, you're going to have to do that and what you were doing before. And that is going to be a daunting kind of brave new world, man. It's different.
To put it in a dark tone, 2020 was the prequel movie to Wall-E and the future that film showed us.
Oh, no.
I think what a lot of people haven't quite wrapped their mind around is the fact that the experience is going to be this all the time.
All the time.
Access to the creative people and their projects and interviews and game shows and drawing demos and anything they've ever wrapped their mind around that they've ever wanted to see for entertainment that's comic book related. That's what they're going to be able to get all the time now. We're living out our best lives. We've always wanted to do these things, and now we get to do them because of COVID.
Open vein inserts. This is what we'll be mainlining. We'll be
constantly in a little box of my face.
Oh, yeah.
But thank you for having us. Thank you for all of this. And thank you for everything that you do, man. Like, Jen, amazing. You're an amazing person. And I know I'm not alone. And really just being so grateful to everything that you're building, even now, for this community. So thank you.
Well, it's taking it really is taking a whole bunch of people with the same vision to be able to make it happen. Because I could want this, or Kyle could want this, or Nick could want this, or Jesse could want this, but we cannot do this independent of each other. None of us have the skills or the amount of time to be up 24 hours to be able to make any of this work. It is really taking a lot of work behind the scenes to try something that just hasn't happened before. A virtual convention, yes, this happened, but something that's going to go on and on and on and be entertaining for hopefully years and years. That's something probably people are still trying to figure out.
And it's good to know that Kyle's being helpful for a change. I think the man needed some direction.
He can hear you. He's listening. Crap, he's back.
All right, everybody, share your time. Share your socials, where people can find you. Where can they buy your things online? When's the next thing coming out?
Well, redstylo.com is the place to find all our socials, and someday we'll update the website too. But we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. I'll figure out Instagram eventually, and then Mark is all over the Ninja Bear.
Yeah, you can actually, I think the easiest thing is just if you go to markmullaneycreative.com, you can find links to all of Ninja Bear. You can find links to my social media. Really just use Instagram. I know Instagram. She doesn't know Instagram. So she covers everything else. I cover Instagram. I have tens of followers.
Am I your biggest fan?
Possibly.
Yes, I'm ready.
I'm going to get a shirt.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for having me on here and allowing me to babble incoherently. Enrica's always a great guest, but I'm glad that I got to come in and ruin it for her. So this has been nice.
Thank you for having us.
You're both amazing. I'm going to turn it over to Kyle, who's in the charge.
Well, I just came in to tell you guys thank you for coming. You're two of my favorite people. I enjoy talking to you all the time. We text a lot.
I like that I'm one of your favorite people when we've only known each other for like 4 months at this point.
Yeah, but we met and like the first night we were like besties.
I know. This we have this like we're simpatico kind of thing, Kyle and I.
We started talking about serial killers and the rest was history.
I'm not allowed to talk about it. Enrica won't let me. She's gonna yell at me if we bring it up.
All right. Thank you guys for being here. We will be back, guys, here on the EXP Expo day number 2. With the galactic one, the legendary Jim Starlin will be joining us in just about a minute's time. Stick with us here on the EXP Expo Day 2. All right, guys, I'm Kyle. I've been here with you all weekend. Hello, welcome back into day 2 of the EXP Expo. I'm going to bring in one of my favorite people. She doesn't play one on TV. She's a real-life doctor, Dr. Christy Blanche.
Hi, Kyle.
What's up, boss lady?
You're doing an amazing job. I
am very punchy. And it's great because I just watched Booster Gold for an hour, talk to Dan Jurgens, and my mind is blown.
How crazy was that?
Right?
I was just like, wait, but it was like Boosterception.
It was kind of Inception-y. Guys, you saw an ad in that break just then for Nerd Killer Warfare. That's our after party tonight. It will be broadcast on all of our platforms, so make sure you tune in 10 o'clock tonight to watch nerds argue with other nerds about nerdy things. Wait.
Can you tell everybody what all platforms we're on? For people who might be...
I was gonna, but I just realized I just explained the entire nerd experience as a game show. So we are on...
They call that Tuesday.
Right. We are on Facebook. If you head over to bit.ly/the_EXP FB, you'll find our Facebook. I get that the bit.ly is a little hard, but it's fine. You'll see it scrolling at the bottom. bit.ly/the_EXP Expo gets you to our YouTube page. Twitch.tv/the_EXP and the_EXP1 on Twitter. It'll be streaming there as well. Also to several other comic shop Facebook pages and to our website. I hope I got that put up. I'll have to check that. That's what I'll check while you're talking. All right, I'm going to bring in America's Tom Zahler.
America's Tom Zahler.
Hey.
Well,
as opposed to Canada's Tom Zahler.
Do I know Tom Zahler?
As opposed to Canada's Tom Zahler?
Oh,
no, that's something Mark Nathan at Baltimore started.
I understand.
Well, to be honest, Canada's Tom Zahler is kind of a jerk. So.
It's weird. He's the one who's not polite.
He's the only Canadian that's not polite.
And I'm going to bring in also Emily Whitten, who is going to be joining us, and I'm going to leave so that you guys have.
Okay. Well, we always have fun with you, Kyle. Yeah. So, how are you guys?
I'm excited to see you.
I know I haven't seen you guys in forever.
I miss you.
I realize I just sounded like Mora. Forever.
I miss you. I miss all the comics people. I miss the world.
It's been it's been crazy. So what have you guys been doing this whole time? And well, Tom, you don't really, besides conventions, do anything anyway. So
no, I've mostly been learning to cook. Becoming a bartender. And we're in dry January. So that's been weird.
Although we decided to do dry January, and then we hit January 6th, and we were like, why? Why are we? I know. We're trying to stick with it. Oh, it's so hard.
This is totally not bourbon.
This
is totally just water. So,
It's been a long day. We're redoing stuff in the shop, and I've been carrying long boxes up and down stairs and building shelves, and it's been a day. So
I noticed you're decorating.
February, we'll both have cocktails. So
Am I what?
If we do this again in February, we'll both have cocktails.
Okay.
I noticed you're decorating an early 20th century priority mail.
Yeah. Yes, this is where all the I do live sales shows, and I will have one here in the experience. Well, I have two. One is from 6 to 8 on Wednesdays, and one is on Saturdays, but I don't know the time yet. So it'll be a surprise for all of us. But those are all packages that I get to package up to send out. I packaged about 35 the last 2 days. So it's been fun. 8 to 10. I'm 8 to 10 on Saturday. Thank you, Kyle. Look at that. See, I'm learning stuff too. No, that's okay. It's okay, Kyle. We're good. So we're having our business meeting here, so can you guys hold on? So, Tom, I have, for all of the people out there, I have these beautiful, it's a set of Love and Capes, The Family Way. Oh, yeah, Comics edition right here, exclusive, Oh yeah, baby. Hi, Tom Zahler. And so at the end, we'll have a trivia question. So Tom, think of one. And
Okay.
right, I will send this to.
Excellent.
Yeah, how exciting is that? So tell us a little bit for people who don't know about Love and Capes is one of my favorites. I think
Thank you.
I think it's like a superhero for people who don't really like superheroes.
Yeah, it's very much a superhero romantic comedy.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's about a superhero who says, "I love my girlfriend." No, it's about a superhero who says, "I love my girlfriend, and I'm going to tell her that. But if I tell her that, I have to tell her everything." So is there ever a good time to tell your girlfriend you have X-ray vision? What does she want for Christmas when she knows you can crush coal into diamonds? Stuff like that. I've done 5 like series of it so far. So it's been they're dating, they're engaged, they're married, they have a kid, and then they have 2 kids, which is where I picked up. I was self-distributing those at conventions, and then the pandemic hit, which you probably read about in the papers. So I figured out a way to get them to shops and locally brand them, which is why there's an exclusive All Yeah Comics version. So I was glad to be providing comic books to people when nobody else was, or when very few other people were.
And we were glad about that also.
Yes, and I've started continuing it as a Patreon. I'm doing Love and Capes in the time of COVID, where the heroes get to deal with this. It's all set about 6 months in the past, so I know what happens to them ahead of time. Like, I'm not trying to figure out how it ends. I'm trying to remember what it was like to go through. Because like in the comic, Abby is a bookstore owner, and I don't know if you know what this is like, but like all the business is shut down, and then she's got to try to keep the business afloat during the pandemic. So, ripped from the headlines.
It's been fun. Yeah, we're still alive though. So, well, that's awesome. And Emily, you have a book out, The Underfoot, and then you have another one coming out very soon, which is the sequel or the squeakle. Sorry, you couldn't help it. I know
that was the
already done it, but
hamsters don't actually squeak that much. If they do, you're probably doing something wrong.
If you squeeze them hard enough.
That's right. You're probably doing something wrong. Yeah, actually, my hamster, every now and again, I'll hear a tiny, tiny little like snuffle squeak, and I'll be like, "Oh, it's the cutest thing, but are you okay?" But usually it's just she's just getting situated, you know. But yes, I actually went and right before this, I grabbed this off the shelf. It says reference copy up here and has little bookmarks everywhere because this is the copy that I use when I'm writing the next bit of the thing. So it's also got like, you know, a spine that's falling apart because I've used it so very much. But this is the Underfoot book 1. It's called The Mighty Deep. I'm bad at centering things on video. And it came out in April of 2018. And now, 2019. I don't even know what year it is anymore, you guys. Nobody does, right? 2019. And then in 2021, this year in April, we get the next one, which is called The Underfoot Into the Sun. Unfortunately, I don't yet have a copy, but our advanced copies are like on the way to me now. And I'm so excited. We worked really hard on this book and we're so happy with it. And if people liked The Underfoot book 1, I'm sure they'll enjoy volume 2. So basically the Underfoot series, for anyone who doesn't know, is about a bunch of little hamsters, very cute little hamsters, who have adventures in a post-apocalyptic Washington, D.C., where all the humans have disappeared. So it's just animals, and so they're hamsters. And what's that?
So next week.
I mean, basically, you know, well, I'm not real proud of the fact that we accidentally predicted a global pandemic in our book in 2019. I'm not real proud of the fact that we predicted a volcano would erupt. Anyway, we also predicted a flood in the DC area that then flooded. So don't make us mad because, you know.
So the hamster's name is Nostradamus, right?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Some of our friends have been saying, well, why don't you just write that we're all going to win $1 million in the next book? I was like, that's a good idea. But basically, these little hamsters are trying to survive in a world where they are small, but intelligent and feisty and brave, and they have special skills. And so the first set of hamsters, they can swim and dive and do these other skills related to water. And then, spoiler alert, in book 2, in the end of book 1 and book 2, they discover there are more hamsters out there, and these hamsters have airborne abilities. So they have, for instance, parachutes and gliders and things like that. So in book 2, we will be seeing more about that.
And you said we, so who are your collaborators on this project?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I'm so sorry. Yes, I told them today, I was like, oh, I wish you could all be on the thing. So so Ben and I are you can't even see it. Ben Fisher and I are the co-writers of the series, and Michelle Wen is the beautifully illustrative artist of the series. And America's Tom Zahler, who's on this part of my screen, is, everything's backwards.
I know.
He is actually our letterer. And then for book 1, Eric Orchard did the maps for book 1, and for book 2, it's actually Eric and Tom, and Michelle's partner Adrian Ricker did the flatting. So that's our little team. And then of course it's at Oni Press, and formerly the first book was at Lion Forge, so now it's the Lion Forge Oni group, with our editor Grace Scheipeter. And book 1's editor, Andrea Colvin, who was also amazing. So it's a pretty small team doing a pretty epic sort of story that we're super proud of.
Well, and for Tom, though, that would be a super large team because you're
a tall team, a very tall team.
I mean,
I am very difficult to work with. I'm the only person who will work for my own crappy rates.
So every time you talk to yourself, it's just a staff meeting.
Yeah, exactly. So I get to write it off.
Okay, so how did you come to realize that this is what you wanted to do? Because this is your full time. I know a lot of people, like I write, but I also edit, and I have a shop, and I teach to make ends meet. Not anymore, but I did. So what pushed you to say, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make it? Because you have.
I've never not known I wanted to be a cartoonist. So everything I did was actually aiming at it in like a stupidly Machiavellian way. Like I worked in the school newspaper so that I learned how to do deadlines. Like anytime I could do an art project to train myself to get better, I did that. I went to the Kubert School, which really beat art and professionalism into your head. And Joe trained us to be able to do anything, which has come in really handy as becoming like more of a one-man operation. Like I'm not the best colorist in the world, but I can color my stuff well enough to execute what I'm trying to do. And it makes you a lot more flexible to be able to do it. But the first thing I was doing is I was doing caricatures. I started working in an amusement park because that was one of the classes I took. That was the first art job I could get. And I just did that and graphic art and was freelancing all the way through. I've never not had an art job, which I've been really, really proud of. And then in late 2001, I decided to take the show on the road, like right after September 11th, because I figured every great success story starts with, it was a terrible time to start a business. And I haven't looked back. It's been kind of crazy.
That's good. So
I'm too stupid to stop.
Well, no, yeah, no, you're not. You're one of my favorites. You know that.
Thank
so
you.
Besides Love and Capes, you have other things that you've done.
Mm-hmm.
You do My Little Ponies.
I do My Little Pony. I got another couple issues coming out.
Yeah, I think it's coming out in a couple weeks, right?
That could be. The schedule's been really messed up, and time is a flat circle now, so I don't know how that works anymore. But yeah, I know it's coming up soon. It's I think the two-parters all. I don't know. I did a two-parter and a one-parter, and I'm not sure which is showing up first.
I'm not sure, but I know FOCs. I did those, and whenever I see your name, I kind of. You and Andy and Katie are kind of like, I'm going to up those a little bit. But you've done long distance.
Long distance, about a couple in a long distance relationship. Did that for IDW.
So much fun. And you've now created a game.
I have.
Tell us about that process.
Yeah. Well, the first comic I did for Webtoon is called Warning Label. And in it, the lead character is a game designer and creates a game that I've always wanted to create, which is called the Long Con. And basically, you put on a comic book convention against your other friends who are putting on comic conventions and try to run the best convention there is. and it's been delayed more than I'd like to admit. But
just blame the post office.
Yes. Well, so the Chinese post office is now shipping it across. I know it's on a boat, and they actually told you we can't track it. Like, once it's on the boat, it just shows up. Like, we don't know where the boat is. It's in the water, and then it'll eventually be here. So, and I had a bunch of artists work with me on it. Katie and Andy both worked on it. Craig Rousseau, Luke Daub, the late Zoom Yukinori, Andy Smith, just a ton of people doing all the cards so that you play a guest and you play an event against other people, and hopefully it'll be a lot of fun.
I'm excited for it. I can't wait. I can't wait. And so, Emily, kind of not about the board game, but kind of like you've written, you're a huge Deadpool fan, and you've written about comics, but what really made you, and you like hamsters, so what made you want to write this comic about a hamster, or write any comic, really?
Well, and first I do have to say about the game, I am actually really looking forward to playing it as someone who has run conventions before. I really want to play this game and win, because that's the most fun. But I have always been some sort of writer, all of my life. So growing up, I would write poetry and short stories and essays, for school and also not for school. And I actually was the editor-in-chief of my high school literary magazine. And so, like, I'm not making this up. And I, as a young person, I won a poetry award, and I was more in the literature track of things. Then I went to school for journalism, and as you said, I became a journalist, not of the type I had expected when I was in journalism school. None of these roads led where I thought they would lead, but I was always following something I wanted to do, something I enjoy doing. And that's always how my life works, is if I enjoy doing it, it goes somewhere that's good, even if I don't know where it's going to go when I start. So I went to law school, and I thought I'd probably work for some corporate firm. And instead I became a government attorney working for the public good, so it's like this thing where you don't know until you're in it. Oh, I don't really like that as much. I believe in this much more, sort of thing. And so I was writing as a literary, a poet, etc. And then I was writing as a journalist, and I was also writing as a lawyer. And all of that time, I had stories I wanted to tell, some of which are still in my head, in the fictional world. And I didn't actually think I would start my writing career in fiction in the longer form with a graphic novel. That was not my intention. But I ended up meeting Ben Fisher because I reviewed one of his stories as a journalist, and we really hit it off. We started talking, and we had these ideas about this world based around hamsters with special abilities where all the humans were gone, and it was based in the area I live. So I knew a lot about the area, and it was based in part in how the government is put together, which is an area I also know some about. And it just came together into this thing where we built on each other's ideas. So by myself, I would have had some of these ideas, but with the two of us, it was like this back and forth. Oh, wouldn't it be great if they did this? Wouldn't it be fun if they did that? And we have reams and reams of chat and text messages of ideas that never made it into the book. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of what happened. Is I've always written, I always liked to write, and this is one of the ideas that just took off. So Tom, I'm pointing the wrong way. Tom, he gets all these ideas, and he's got a million pitches, and I get one idea I become really obsessed with, and this is it right now. I've got other ones, they're in the works, but the underfoot is my obsession, at the moment, and hamsters are too, let's be honest. I've got my tiny hamster, I love her dearly, and they're just such fun little creatures. Why wouldn't you write a story about them?
Yep, exactly. Well, I've got something coming out with Garrett Gunn from Source Point called Good Boy, which I'm so excited about. It's very John Wickish. And I kind of love John Wick, just a little bit.
I was unaware of that.
Yeah, nobody knew that, Christy.
And let me brag a little bit.
You also enjoy coffee?
I do enjoy coffee and wine, huh?
And Poe Dameron, what?
And Poe Dameron, Poe Dameron / Moon Knight. Okay, so mostly it's Poe Dameron. It's the X-wing outfit. That's what it is. So I'm going to brag a little bit about this one, and I asked for him. I'm also obsessed with What We Do in the Shadows, which my online show is called What We Do in the Comic Shop, which is totally cool. And then look at
it's totally you. It's totally on brand.
Look at this. I got our pens. I got to send you some.
Oh, cool.
Oh, they're so great.
This is Franco. Franco did this art. I'm trying to get it where I can see. Franco did that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just awesome. So okay, thank you, Kyle. I should have typed that anyway. Whatever. So for my birthday in December, Tom did a sketch for me. I have a What We Do in the Shadows sketchbook, and that has amazing art in it. It's one of my cherished possessions. That and my Columbo painting, those would go with me in a fire after my dogs. And so he sent me one, and it happened to be of Jackie Daytona. And I posted it online and tagged Mark Hamill, who plays Jim the Vampire, and he commented on it. Mark Hamill did, which blew my mind and maybe blew Tom's mind a little bit.
It did.
And I said, now all I need is a Jim the Vampire sketch. And Mark said that he was awaiting it. And so Tom just posted the new one of Jim the Vampire, to which Mark Hamill loved. I mean, he wrote "Love it," and then I wrote, "You're a great Jim coach, JIM," because that's on the back of his tracksuit when they do volleyball, and he liked that. So that's 3 times I've interacted with him. So I believe we're best friends now. So
that's how it works.
So thank you for that. That was more of a gift than you will ever know.
And once this is all over, we can all get together with Mark. We'll just invite him over.
I'm best friends with him now. So he better bring me Grogu.
Yeah. It's actually the second time I've worked with Mark Hamill.
Oh, tell us more.
He came up to me at a San Diego and saw me doing caricatures. I think it was when I was doing the first Raider book. And asked me to do some sketches for his comic book, the movie. Oh yeah, well I'm old. So he had me do sketches that he was showing to the audience before they were filming a scene for Comic Book the Movie. And I'm actually in the movie. You see like the back of me drawing. It's not a big part, but it was before he was doing the Joker voice, but he wasn't like in his next stage of like cultural significance. So like he could still walk around the show and not be mobbed. And it was just, it's awesome to have Luke Skywalker tell you to do anything.
Exactly. Well, on that, I did a panel with Kevin Conroy once, and he, said that when they told him, because Tim Curry was supposed to be the Joker, but then when they said, well, it's going to be Mark Hamill, and he was like, you're going to have Luke Skywalker, like good old farm boy, be the Joker? I think that's going to like be bad. And then he said he listened to him and he was like, yeah, we're good.
He's terrifying as the Joker. I love it.
Terrifying. He's terrifying in the commercial he does with Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
Which I love. So, but then he's also in Star Wars, The Mandalorian, which I may have ugly cried through the whole thing. The whole thing. No spoilers though. I just gave a spoiler. I don't care. It's been long. Anyway, so let's talk about you guys. So, Emily, we know you have a new book coming up soon in a couple weeks, and I'm sure it'll be to you in a few weeks and to us in a few months. And Tom, what do you have? What are you working on right now besides your Love and Capes Chronicle COVID?
The COVID one is I'm finishing up the last 2 chapters of Cupid's Arrows for the collection that's coming out. We did a Kickstarter to collect the first season from Webtoon. Cupid's Arrows is about a 2-person hitman team of Cupids that got couples together. It ran for 2 years on Webtoon, and the first volume is going to collect the first set of stories, but it also, there was a chance to be part of the story, so there are 2 extra chapters that will be in the book, and I'm trying to get that done. And I started a Patreon, which is where the Love and Capes is, but is also, I do sketches of the week. I show pitches that didn't go anywhere. There's a Star Trek short story I wrote back when they were doing the Strange New Worlds that got rejected, but that got me on the radar. Yeah, the Voyager one. Thank you.
Idiots for rejecting it.
But that got me on the radar enough that Bob Ingersoll and I wrote Till Death, which is a next gen story that did get made. And I did get to write Deep Space Nine for IDW this year, at some point in the past, I wrote a Star Trek story for IDW. So the thing I'm working on, and I'm not completely sure I'm going to pull the trigger on it, but I do sketches of the week on the Patreon. Next month is Valentine's Day, and that's when, a lot of my stuff is romantic comedies, so it gets a lot of notice. So instead of doing sketches of the week, I'm thinking about doing sketches of the day and having like 28 different ones that go up.
Nice.
Yeah, it'll keep me busy. So just doing different superhero or different comic book superhero pop culture couples. So going from Star Trek to Indiana Jones to Phantom and Diana to Phoenix and Cyclops, all over the place. So
and What We Do in the Shadows, because it's a romance.
That's true.
So is John Wick, actually.
Yes, but I don't want to draw the dog.
As a plug for his, sorry, I'm always pointing the wrong way. As a plug for his couples drawings, I have a Lois and Clark one that he did from last time that is just my favorite. I had him do the Lois that was like in the newsboy cap and the whole thing, and then a Clark in the appropriate matching kind of style of clothing. And what did the newspaper say, Tom? That she's holding up the newspaper.
It's like
My Night with Superman,
yeah.
And he's looking at her like super annoyed. It's a great one. I have it up on my wall. It's fantastic. So if you want like a fun comics couple one, yeah, I mean his stuff is great for that, of course.
And where can we find that, Tom Zahler?
It is at patreon.com/Tom Zahler, THOMZAHLER.
Tom Zahler.
Yes.
Tom Zahler.
That was my mom's doing. So
that's what my mom's doing. She made me Tom.
Yeah, she did.
I believe you. Okay, and so your Patreon, you were not doing that before the whole pandemic. So is that something that has come up? Because I know you do like a gazillion conventions a year.
Yes.
That's a big income. And I know that's been a big, it's been hard for, same with me. It's like I had 9 million Charlie Wormwood books and Tales from the Crypts because I'm like, I'm going to work hard this year and do this. And then C2E2, after C2E2, it was just like, hold on. So I still have those. Actually, no, I sold out of the Charlie Wormwoods. I had to order more, which was good. So
it's such a great book too.
Well, thank you. Is that something that you just decided, hey, this will work? Did you do research? Did you talk to people?
All of the above. Yes, it's been really hard. And it's weird because everybody's having a hard time. So I always feel wrong about saying how hard it is because I feel like there are so many people who are having worse times that, oh, I can't go to San Diego and sell a bunch of books.
Trust me.
Yeah, but it super sucks. So I kept trying to find ways for people to give me money directly. And I've been toying around with doing Patreon. When I hit the idea to do the Love and Capes characters in COVID, I didn't know how long it was going to be, and I didn't know how long I could do it. I wrote out a bunch of beat sheet of all the jokes I had, and I had an issue's worth. And I said that was a good way to get it out there. The support's been really good. For launching 3 months ago, it's done much, much better than I thought it would. But yeah, with no conventions and comic books being real spotty, publishing schedules are getting moved around. I had 4 My Little Pony issues that were supposed to come out, and those got pushed back and moved around where like nothing's been secure. So I have to keep finding more ways for people to pay me directly. I had Webtoon for a while, and then Cupid's Arrows ended, and yeah, it's been like Wash said in Serenity, it's been really exciting.
Really exciting.
Like, oh my god, we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, didn't turn out well for him, but it'll turn out much better for you. We hope. Well, you're a Trek guy anyway, so you'll be all right. We do the thing in the shop. Well, my son and I are the only ones here now, but we're all just yell Shatner, and everybody has to talk like this. Who also Shatner was in a Columbo episode, in case you didn't know that.
I believe he was in 2.
He was in 2, actually. Yes.
He was in the movie where he played the radio show host.
Well, actually, yeah. Well, the movies are actually just episodes 2 episodes put together.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just how they did it then. They shot it in color and then all that. He's also in a very early episode of Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Really? That I didn't know.
Yes.
Emily and I have been watching him in Twilight Zone.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
I just showed my son that for the first time. He'd never seen it. And I'm like, wait, what? I have failed as a mother. Sit down and watch it.
Wait, which one? Was it the plane one or the small town one?
The
plane
one.
one.
I've never seen the plane one. And I was
that one kills me.
I feel like I've failed, as a mother, because I'm like, you'll understand. I try to teach them all the cultural references. I made him watch Casablanca. And he was like, oh, I get so many more jokes now, these references, and I make him watch all these things. But he's also a little off because, and the Patreon is going well then.
Yes. Yeah, it's been really, really positive. That's
good.
It's paying a couple of utility bills a month, and that's not nothing.
Now, do you think you will continue doing this after everything goes back to normal? Well, the new normal, whatever it is.
I do, because right now I'm doing a page a day, I'm doing a page a week, and that's a manageable schedule. When I was doing Cupid's Arrows, that was roughly 6 pages a week. Mm-hmm. So the pacing is good, and what I will do when Love and Capes COVID ends eventually is either start doing the rest of what would be Series 6 of Love and Capes.
Okay.
Or I will start using it as a way to subsidize new projects that I'll get out and eventually get in print. And even with Love and Capes, there's a free side now. It's on the tomz.com website where the stuff that posted 3 months ago is up.
Okay.
So you can read the old stuff for free, and then if you want to mainline it, you have to go to Patreon. It's very much the drug dealer model.
It's a comic model. I'm going to give you this one for free, but when you want more, it's cardboard crack.
Yeah.
Now, Emily, your job didn't stop, right?
Nope. I've been working every day, give or take a few, little breaks here and there. But no, March, when March happened, I was already working from home because I was sick with something that may or may not have been COVID. That early on, there weren't really tests available, etc. Yeah. So I was already at home about 3 days before our entire workforce got sent home on full-time telework, and we have been full-time telework ever since.
Oh, really? So you have been home. You have been, working out of a home since the. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I was very lucky in the sense that when the Underfoot one came out, I went, oh. It's not like, all the journalism stuff and all that. Like, suddenly I'm really a serious writer now. I better upgrade my home setup. I had the worst home setup for 10, 12 years. And suddenly I was like, we're going to write at least 2 more of these books. I should probably have a desk, So I upgraded my whole workspace. I moved my kitchen table / workspace into, its own little dining area. And I have a full desk and a big monitor and all that stuff at home for the Underfoot, but also because I teleworked 1 day a week anyway.
Okay.
When I got sent home, I had everything there, and I was seeing people, tweeting about how they were writing from their laundry basket laptop stand, and I was like, oh, I'm really glad I did that thing. but yeah, so I've been able to keep teleworking from a couple of locations over the course of this whole thing. So currently, obviously, I'm in the location down the hall from the guy I keep pointing the wrong way towards.
Oh.
And sometimes I'm in my, home area. And
I recognize that comic rack because I have that comic rack. And I've said, hey, Tom, I have a comic rack for sale. Oh my gosh, my mind's blown.
So yeah, it's not a lie. He's really down the hall. But so I've been in a couple different places and it's been kind of crazy. But even before all of this, juggling a full-time day job, as you know, and your job, you have after hours to the actual open hours of your shop, so you've got all that stuff. So it's the same kind of thing when you're working a full-time job, then you're doing something on the side like the journalism and or the writing of the story, which I've done both at once. I've done one and then another, and then gone back and forth, or like planning conventions. It's a trip trying to get all that done, but it's fun.
It's fun. That's what I keep telling myself. I'm gonna get that tattooed. Yeah, it's fun. That's right.
It's very rewarding, and then sometimes you're like, I know people whose hobby is just cooking or something, like, oh, you just go to work and you come home and what's your hobby? It's like, well, I like to cook. And my hobbies are like 3 other careers.
My hobby's just working. That's what I do. They're like, what do you do? I'm like, I only worked 16 hours today. It was a pretty slow day. That doesn't include writing time. Yeah.
I mean, fortunately for some of my work, it requires watching TV. I saw we've got comments. I don't know if I just noticed because Kyle caught my attention with that one. What's that?
Oh, this is. I didn't see the comments.
Oh yeah, no, but I saw someone asking. Here's okay, that's a different one.
Can you ask her about her tweets on murder turtles coming to the mainland?
Well, that's all conspiracy theories, so apparently.
Bought turtles on the black market?
No, I don't know what that's about.
I haven't seen those show up at the house yet.
I will say,
we're in the back. She could have answered the door very, very easily.
Yeah. I will say that there are reptiles in the Underfoot story, but I do not own any reptiles and everything.
You need to read this comment.
Okay, this one is really sweet.
My friend's son just lost his hamster. I bought him the Underfoot, and he named his new hamster after a character in the book. So
I want to know what character, because I just am very curious, but also that's super sweet and I love it. And all the hugs to anyone who has lost a pet, because that happens to me too.
I don't know which character. I haven't met the hamster yet.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
We had a comment from Jeff Torres on there.
Yeah.
Hi, Coleman. Like, being in the industry yourselves when you're not working on your own projects, what is it that you like to read or collect yourselves?
Tom, do you want to go first?
Sure. I try not to collect anything anymore because the house isn't getting bigger. So I have a lot of stuff. But I'm not reading a ton of comics. I'm catching up on TV and movies. Obviously, Mandalorian, What We Do in the Shadows, catching like weird movies every now and then. But I started doing the comfort watch thing that everybody else was. So it was Star Trek Deep Space Nine, because I love Deep Space Nine.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been trying to, like, I find myself reading older comic collections, like stuff from the 70s and 80s, and trying to read like actual books again. I feel like when I was on the road, it was really hard to do it. So now that I'm more locked into one place, I've been, reading books on history, and I just got John Scalzi's Red Shirts, which somebody recommended to me. So I need to check that out.
I can't believe you haven't read that yet.
No.
I would have lost money on a bet about that.
Yep, I'm really bad about that stuff.
But you have watched Ted Lasso.
I have watched Ted Lasso. Oh my God, that's so good.
It's so
everything I want to be as a writer.
So don't spoil it yet. Don't spoil it.
They're all apes at the end, Emily. I was just like, Jason Sudeikis. He punched Baby Yoda. I'm not going to watch this crap, you know. And then so I was like, it was Jeff Parker talked me into it just because he was talking about it. And it's so good. So everybody should watch it. It's
on my list. Yeah. He watched it without telling me. He just watched it. And so then I was like, well, now I have to watch it.
It's not his fault because you watch it just to see if you like it. Mm-hmm. And then it was 3 a.m. and I couldn't stop.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was like, it's 8 episodes, right? Is it 8 or 10 episodes?
8.
Whatever it was, I thought it was 2 more. So when I got to the last episode, I'm like, that's like, what's happening? Wait, this is it?
Yeah.
And I listen to a ton of podcasts while I'm working, and the people on a couple of the tech podcasts I listened to recommended it, and that's how I got hooked into it.
It's outstanding, and I guess it's been renewed for 2 more seasons.
That sounds right. Yeah, I know they're starting to work on the second one because I saw there was that Patton Oswalt hosted thing with everybody.
I was blown away because I'm a huge Major League fan. I love that movie. Like, it's ridiculous how much I love it. And so it's like very reminiscent of that, but it took it to a whole new level, and it was so good.
Yeah. In Major League, there's a plot that they changed where the lady who buys or takes over the team is actually forming a good team, and she's being mean to them to motivate them, which is cut out, and then she's the bad guy in it. And yeah, I thought the same thing about Ted Lasso. It had a lot of that too. But it's so good. So good.
Yeah, at the beginning, then it was just so good. You know,
all right, you guys, I'm gonna watch it. Stop talking about it.
You do.
Okay, something. I'm being so mad.
We had Kyle. We had another comment question that I
don't know if you want to hear my answer to the same question.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I don't. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, it's really interesting because, like Tom, I was doing some comfort watching. Right now, I'm rewatching the first half plus of Supernatural because I'm behind by a few seasons. So I decided to start from the beginning again because why not?
Oh my gosh, you'll be when you're 80.
What? I know. It's 15 seasons long, and I don't even care. I'm just enjoying going through it again. It's comforting horror.
Yeah.
You know. But I also we've been watching The Mandalorian and Discovery and Lower Decks and Cobra Kai. We haven't seen season 2 yet, so we're getting to it.
3. We haven't seen season 3.
Old stuff. Oh, what? Season 3. Sorry, we haven't seen the new season yet. And the Twilight Zone stuff. I'm actually thinking of doing a live, or not a live, a video cast about some of the old Twilight Zone and Ray Bradbury Theater and Philip K. Dick stuff, and so I got on that potential kick because we were watching them and the commentaries and everything. But also I'm reading and I'm rereading, and one of the things I'm rereading is American Gods for the 12 millionth time because season 3 is up now, and I'm actually doing recaps and chats about upcoming episodes, past episode, next episode. So I just did one because I'm going to be watching episode 2 of season 3 right after this and doing a little live tweet.
That's really pleasure reading though, then, because it's really work reading.
Yeah, I mean it is, but it's also good. It's also just fun. But some of the stuff that I've been reading, I loved. But if anybody does want to live tweet along with me for American Gods, it's at the Emily ESSE, so join me. But also, I really liked Ali Brosh's book, Hyperbole and a Half, and she came out with a new one recently, so that's on my to-read. It's on the nightstand, ready to be read. Yeah. And I just bought the new Dresden Files because I have read the whole series of Dresden Files, and I just bought an N.K. Jemisin book that I'm going to read. And then myself is just full of stuff. So Terry Pratchett's always on my reread list. And then I've got the Tori Amos kind of memoir is on my to-read list that I haven't yet read. That's relatively newer. And in terms of comics, I go in and out. I mean, I'm looking at my bookshelf. That's why I keep looking back. I brought some things with me. My bookshelves at home, I have 5 or 6 of them, and there's comics and there's, graphic novels and all that. I've got Great American Stories and The Science of Discworld and The Ghost Army of World War II. And it's just this, I read lots of different things. At the moment in comics though, Ali's new book, and I like to read some of the bit comics like Heart and Brain, where you just get a little bit at a time or it's collected. And then the series comics, I was collecting Deadpool for a long time. And I mean, all the time, all the new stuff after I got all the old stuff. When it started coming out as a modern comic, I've been collecting it. And then my comic shop closed down, not due to COVID. The woman who ran it, she like sold the land right before and got out and got a big payday, and then COVID hit. So I was like, she was really lucky. But I meant to subscribe to a new shop, and then COVID hit, and it was like, and so I haven't collected any of the newest Deadpool, but that was a long time one for me. And it's not to say that, and I used to collect the Iron Man.
If you need, that, right?
What's that?
We could probably set you up with some Deadpool comics if you need.
Yes, I bet you could. And I really do need to get back into some of my subscriptions, but I also am one of those people, I like to read big chunks. I am a binge watcher, big chunk of thing reader to a certain extent. So I like to read several in a row or the collected trades, and I like the issue by issue too, but I think that I will buy trades a lot, I like the collected chunks of things. Yeah. Deadpool's one of the ones I'll collect issue by issue, because for almost everything, the Cable and Deadpool run I only have mostly as trades, because those are incredibly hard to find in the after thing. But Christy can find them for me.
I have 145 long boxes.
Well, you can find me anything. So Cable and Deadpool, I have almost 0 of the original issues. I only have trades, so I will take those off your hands.
In fact, I just was pricing this guy today.
I have that one. I have almost all of the original stuff. I have pretty much everything that he's ever appeared in. But yeah, I mean, it really I just go, it ebbs and flows, whatever I'm in the mood to read at the moment, and I always have a backlog, so... Mm-hmm.
Always. Always. Yeah. There's always too many books, too many TV shows.
Yeah, and some of it's research. I mean, the Ghost Army is to do with something I'm thinking about, and if we're talking about things that Tom needs to do next, I have some ideas for things to draw. For people who have ideas but cannot draw. He knows about this. Anyway.
I think we need to do a Columbo thing, Tom, so.
Is that going to be your next sketchbook?
Oh, well, those all go on my wall. That's my problem. If I get a Columbo one, it goes straight in the wall. So I just got too many of the shadows ones.
Speaking of the wall, I'm gonna, you guys, I just have to show you something that's on my wall.
I was like, wait, what's happening?
I just expected to do I'm going downstairs.
Christmas. I don't know if we can see it, but that is Tom's drawing of a couple of my characters from the Underfoot. That's Mac and Ruby from the Underfoot, and that is now hanging on my wall. Can everybody see it? Yeah, that's not bad.
So cute.
And of course, they're listening to BTS on their little iPod or whatever, because unlike the world, who might not know this, Tom knows very well that I am very into the K-pop band BTS right now.
A concert with Emily.
I did. For my birthday, Emily took me to see BTS with her.
How was that? It was like...
It was the most bizarre, awesome concert experience ever. Because I was 1.5 feet taller than everybody.
That's so much fun.
I was the oldest person there without a child. And Emily got us floor seats. So I had an unobstructed view. I was afraid some 15-year-old girl was going to try to hit me in the back of the head because they couldn't see anymore. And I took pictures of this. When I went to use the restroom, there was nobody there. The women's line was out through Jersey, back to New York into Connecticut.
The door. Yeah. There was a huge line for the ladies' room and nobody in the men's room. But we had a really good time.
Yeah, we did. I think in the middle of the concert, I said, I'm going to use the bathroom. I'll be back in 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Tom's a good sport. He's a good sport.
He is a good sport.
And then we saw Come From Away on Broadway the next day, which that was awesome too.
That was amazing. Yeah, that was Tom's. That was your birthday present that year.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, that was my actual birthday present. It was not. Yes. Not going to see BTS.
Yeah, we were going to go see BTS again, but then COVID hit, and so I'm never getting those tickets.
Yeah. Well, I got to see Jeff Lynne, the ELO, because that's my guy. But I was
sure. I love Wild Times.
Huh?
The song he's got on the Robin Hood soundtrack.
Anyway, yeah, go ahead. You go ahead, Steve Conley. But then he was only gonna be in Europe this year, so I was all bummed. But then he had to cancel all of them, and I'm like, next year.
Yeah. Nobody gets to see him. Not just me. Nobody.
I don't get to see him. Nobody gets to see him. Right. Yeah.
Oh man, I had good seats for that BTS show too. Tom, I would have been able to see, not just Tom, because I got the angled seats this time.
What would have been really funny is if you sat on his shoulders, then.
Oh man, we should have done that. Nobody would have been mad, surely.
It'd have been like Mecha Shiva. Okay, so where can we find you? On not, I know you're in the house.
Yeah, you first, Emily.
Don't give us your address, but
yeah, I'm like pretty much everywhere. Yeah, you can find me at the Emily ESSE on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Pretty much everything. Like there's a smattering of other like Mixcloud and SoundCloud. There's like a couple of things here and there, but mostly I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, primarily for interactions, Instagram and Twitter. And you can find The Underfoot. Book 1 is out everywhere. Your comic shop should be able to order it for you. And if you can't get to the comic shop somehow, it's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target's websites, all of that. And then Book 2 is already available for pre-order on Amazon, and there is a code so you can pre-order through your comic shop. And I think I'll look it up before the end of this. So that's where you can find me and the book. And then if Tom does his thing, I'll see if I can find that order code for people.
Yeah, all you really need to do is, if you want to order that, is please just go to your local comic shop or call them and say, I'd like the Underfoot, from Oni. They will be able to find it. And I wouldn't even worry about the code. So
I don't need the code. Christy knows it all. She's knowledgeable as the
Underfoot. And if your comic shop can't help you, I'll get it for you, because we do.
Oh, Christy.
We do ship. I have become. I knew none of this before this. I hated shipping. I hated doing online sales, and now I'm doing 7 a week and shipping stuff all over. I ship to England, and I've got people in Singapore and people in Mexico, and it's crazy.
Yeah, having done 2 Kickstarters, that's super important.
Yeah. So, Tom, where can we find you?
TomZ.com, THOMZ.com is my website. That's where everything's at. But I am at Tom Zahler on Twitter and Instagram when I bother to post. Most of the time I'm making stuff, and I'm patreon.com/Tom Zahler. Where you can get new Love and Capeses. And that's I think that's most of the places that I am these days.
Okay.
And there's a Tom Z. There's a Tom
right here.
Where's the hats?
Only here. Oh, I know. The hats are put away for now. Yeah, it was Dress Your Pet Day the other day, so I made her wear tiny winter hats. Poor thing. But yes, it's only available right here. Right here.
All right, Tom. It is 7:54. I need time to stand. Leave me alone. My watch always tells me what to do. So I need a trivia question from you.
Do you want a Love and Capes trivia question or just a general trivia question?
It could be a general trivia question.
William Shatner's in 2 Twilight Zone episodes. Everybody knows Terror at 20,000 Feet, but he's also in Nick of Time. What state does his car break down in?
Ooh, that is a good one. Kyle, you do not get to answer. Just saying. So, okay, we'll give.
All right, because I don't know.
So just.
But if you comment, we'll pop it up on screen. First person to comment.
Arkansas, California. I only know that the song.
So I can put it in the comments and you guys won't see, right? Or it won't post,
you
right?
You gotta put it in the private chat.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I have to say, I've seen this episode and I don't remember, so.
It's a good state.
Yeah. Now I remember.
Why would you know? Why would you remember this, Tom?
Because William Shatner's in it.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Yeah, that's the only reason. The only reason.
I still can't.
He's all superstitious.
We've got a guest over here.
We have a guess.
Oh, we do have a guess. Sorry, it didn't pop up on my screen right away.
Yeah, I don't see any. No, it is not Nevada.
It is not Nevada.
It's not Nevada.
I'm going to give less letters.
Less letters.
Well, it's funny because my background is technically a clue. If you can identify that bridge, you'll know the answer. But of course, you've got to be able to identify bridges from really far away in really blurry pictures.
Here's another clue that nobody will get. It's the state that can I give this one? It's the state that my hamster originally came from. It's true.
Well,
I know it's true.
that narrows it down.
That does.
No, because we travel a lot.
Well, that's true.
My hamster was obtained way before COVID. So my hamster is 3 years old.
Trish.
No, it's
also incorrect.
Yeah.
Not Florida.
Or Florida.
It would have little tan lines.
Yes.
All right.
She's the most mellow hamster right now. This is good.
What is your favorite Twilight Zone episode?
Oh,
you sent me the one with you were like Columbo's dressed weird in this one.
Yeah, the one in
what's the one we watched the other night with the books, the library,
Time at Last.
Oh yeah.
That one's just mean though. Honestly, my favorite Twilight Zone episode is from the 80s. When they did the reboot. I love Shatterday, the Harlan Ellison story.
That's actually a really good one.
All right, yeah. we have another guess.
Okay.
But before we put it on screen, there was a joke, and it's actually a joke about the answer.
Okay.
So they're reshaping the names of places to be more culturally appropriate, and the capital of my state is one of the cities they think should be renamed, and they suggested they name it after Guy Fieri.
Mm-hmm.
But I suggested that they keep the name the same and replace the statues with statues of Peter Falk as Columbo.
I agree.
Just call it Columbus.
Ah.
I don't celebrate Columbus Day. I can celebrate Columbo Day.
Yeah. We have a winner.
We have a winner, Mike.
I'm putting the right way. So hard to put the right way.
Kyle, how can we get Mike's address so I know where to ship this? Or
Mike, if you go to comicshoppingexperience.com, there's a contact us tab. Hit that and fill that in and say you won the thing, and I will get your information to Christy Blanche.
And Mike,
the other thing you can do is, because you're watching on Facebook, message the Facebook page. That's another option. I didn't even think of that one.
Many congrats. I hope my clue wasn't too easy. Yeah, she is an Ohio hamster. Little baby came from Ohio.
I'm an Ohio hamster.
Because of the Ohio State shirt she's wearing.
Oh, yeah. You just can't see it because I'm holding her.
All right, Mike, congratulations.
Yay.
If you have not read Love and Capes, I would suggest reading it. It is spectacular. It was actually, I think it was my first introduction to you, Tom.
I think it was, yeah.
This was the first thing I read from you, and that's when I knew we were going to be good friends because it was so good. And then, we share quirks. So I think are we out of time? We are out of time. So thank you, Tom. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
And bye, little hamster. And please remember to support your local comic shops. Support your favorite artists. Try new artists. Please see Tom and his Patreon, and please check out the Underfoot, both of them, and keep watching these awesome shows on CBSN. Thank you, Mike.
I got you, Mike.
And just forward that to me, Kyle, and I will get that off to you. And thank you so much for tuning in for this, and keep coming in. We've got so much more for you.
Thanks, guys.
Cool. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Stay tuned, guys. Thank you to Emily. Thank you to Tom. Thank you to Dr. Christie for being here. Stay tuned. In just about a minute's time, we will be back with a massive panel of incredibly gifted independent artists. We'll be rejoined by Jen King, and we will continue on here on the EXP Expo day 2.